We return on Southeast Texas Weekly. I'd like to hear a little bit, Congressman Weber, about your involvement with what has been called, in lengthy terms, the Water Resource Reform Development Act, the WRDA bill, a long bill that essentially allows the Port of Beaumont, some greater access to some of the Panamax ships and some of that. How did you stand on that issue?
Absolutely, Kevin. WRDA, as we call it, just got authorized again. First time in, I think, either 6 or 8 years. It predated my tenure in Congress. But I have 5 ports in this district, in this great District 14, more than any other member of Congress. And so it's very, very important to me. 60% of the nation's jet fuel is produced in this district. A classified amount of the military's fuel is produced in this district. And when you talk about Southeast Texas and all the petroleum projects that's going on, WRDA was extremely important. We worked hard. We got involved. I met with the chairman of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. We pushed hard for WRDA. 2 projects in the WRDA bill in my district, over in Freeport 1, and of course the Bean Neches Waterway. So we understand that once the Panama Canal is finished, that we want Texas to be the gateway to America. So we pushed for funding. We pushed that WRDA was reauthorized, streamlined. The Army Corps of Engineers needed to get permits done quicker. There was a lot of moving parts to it. We rolled up our sleeves. I got my staff involved. We got involved with the Bean Neches Waterway, the Port of Freeport, and did everything we could to make sure that our area is on track.
That it got passed, and the dredging will begin in a while.
Sure. Oh, you bet.
Always, you never know when when a project of that scale gets started, how long it'll take.
You bet.
This matter that we've talked about regarding, the border and the ISIS, this question of how Islamic State is being reacted to by the administration. As a potential member of Congress, how would you vote when it comes to this issue of how the president should handle Islamic State? At one point, the president said that he did not have a specific plan on how to handle Islamic State, evidently quoted as referring to the administration's view is that this was the JV. Well, now the JV appears to be storming across Iraq. As a member of Congress, how would you vote in a situation like that?
Well, first, I'm grateful that our president actually decided to sit down and come up with a plan before acting, and so I believe that was probably a smart move on his part. As far as how supporting, if you're talking about supporting boots on the ground, is that what your question is?
Let's go there.
Okay.
Would you
No.
support boots on the ground?
I do not believe that we should put
Do you believe it would be necessary to stem the tide of Islamic State?
I believe that as long as they are not creating a danger to the interest of America, that we should not be involved in any foreign conflicts.
And would that include?
However, I do believe that we should allow for air support, as we're doing now.
Okay, you believe the president's actions are correct?
And I believe that we need
airstrikes.
to encourage Islamic nations to get in there with their boots on the ground.
Just a couple of minutes left. How do you believe that the conflict is, I'll call it for lack of a better word, is being prosecuted in northern Iraq and in eastern Syria?
Well, it's terrible, Kevin. I said from the get-go that I didn't believe in arming the Syrian rebels the way the president was going to go about it. There was 5 things I think needed to happen. Number 1, the president needed to build a consensus of Americans through their elected representatives, Congress. Was there a national security interest? Did we need to go against ISIL? Most everybody I talked to said, yes, we would rather destroy them over there than have them come here. Number 2, the president needed to build a coalition of communities, countries in the neighborhood, and you'll see why that's important. Number 4. Number 3, he needed to unhandcuff the American military. There was a term back in the Gulf War, shock and awe.
Right.
We could go in there, the finest fighting force in the world, men and women, and with all the equipment could go in there and destroy those guys. Number 4, an exit strategy. Those communities in the area and those countries over there, Lebanon, Jordan, the Saudis, Qatar, you can go right down the list, they would be left there to police this up, because once you strike the roach pile, the roaches come back later.
Right.
Let them clean up. And number 5, Mr. President, don't hold your strategy sessions in the media. Don't tell your enemy what you will and won't do. As I travel across this district, that rang very true with our constituents. They said, that's a good plan.
Do you know of any way to get our allies more involved in this? Turkey, some of the nations that maybe are not as involved at this point.
I believe we should take Saudi Arabia, for instance. I believe we should tell Saudi Arabia, if you are not going to stand for to stem the tide of radical behavior, then we are no longer going to sell you military equipment.
Okay.
We
Final quick
use our
words.
military equipment as leverage.
15-second stump speech. I'll start with you. Give me a 15-second stump speech on why Donald Brown should be our next congressman.
Well, I believe that Washington's broken, and we need someone who will actually talk with both sides, sit down and try to compromise, instead of voting to try to repeal a law that's been passed and trying to repeal it 46 or 54 times or whatever it was.
Okay.
It's the law of the land.
And final word, sir. Why should-
Easy, of course, that is our district. They don't like Obamacare. I grew up here, as I said earlier. I've been reflecting our values and working for our values. I don't have a police record, okay? I'm a conservative, I'm a business owner, I'm a Christian, I'm a family man. All of what I think makes Southeast Texas great. It's easy for me to reflect our values because I'm one of us.
Very good. We have both of the candidates in the 14th Congressional District race for Congress, and we hope to have them back in a couple of weeks if we get lucky enough to make it work out. Our panel, though, is back with more on Ebola, on this matter of the Iraqi discovery of chemical weapons. Were weapons of mass destruction really in Iraq all along? And more when Southeast Texas Weekly continues.